Hello, my name is Rachel Rowson and I am the Operations Manager for Cities. We have built and developed Plan.City for urban purposes using highly accurate 3D model of London and open data sets. The Plan.City app is developed by using one of the advanced gaming engines, in this instance, Unreal Engine. I will be taking you through the app to show the advantages of applying this method to any urban context. In this presentation, we will focus on London as it is one of the world's fastest growing environments. The bespoke tools built are specific to London, however can be adapted to change to any urban environment. Here we combine large 3D datasets into the app and use these tools to manipulate and view these datasets on top. We extract further information out of this 3D data for use on daylight, sunlight, wind climate, and architectural space and forms. Through this tool selection, you can see there is a few options to navigate yourself through Plan.City. Here you can drop to the selected location, and here you will appear a man. You can navigate yourself through the city using this figure. Otherwise, you can actually go through a third-person view as well. We have a tool with a postcode search. This enables us to navigate around the city typing in a postcode. For instance, this one's the Southeast 14. And here with the grey icons, it will show exactly all the locations which are in the Southeast region. Alongside the postcode search is a tool for the boroughs of London. This one, for example, shows the City of London, and it's shown in a mask-taped area. This one's for Camden. This helps with knowing what council jurisdictions you need to get in contact with for each area. The 3D data is due reference to the British National Ordnance Grid. This is taken into account whilst given the time and weather. Here we can navigate through the times, and you can see the shadows change to independent of the time. You can also reset it to local time here. You can also change the weather to being quite clear, overcast, which is normally for London. Here we show the flood analysis over London, and categories of flood zones is projected onto the city dataset. As you can see, the flood zones are high through near to close to the River Thames. Here we show the future skyline, and we can toggle through the years, and it will show exactly what will be there in those years. You can also show building information and touch onto the yellow icon to show more information about that particular building. We curate that layer for central London, showing landmark developments. We will make equivalent information from planning permissions or speaking to architects. Here we have added another data set from public accessible data of CCTV at certain points around London, showing real-time data. The icons pinpoint the cameras around the city and show exactly what is going on at that time. London is well known for historic buildings. Here we navigate and pinpoint historic buildings within the capital. The green icons show the green areas within the city, which is listed. The brown icons show the historic buildings in this area, and you can click on a certain icon to show more data. For example, what the building's called, the category of listing it is under, when it was listed, and the area it covers. Here we have a measurement tool. With this tool, we can measure from one building to the next, or an open area, just like, for instance, what you can see on the screen here. Here we can clear the measurement from that open space, and we can click from one building to the next to also measure that distance. Here from the bridge, across the bridge, and to another building. You can also see the first current point location to the previous point location in an XYZ axis. You can also tell the height difference from building to the next. Alongside the measurement tool, we have the building height tool. Here we can add the building height tool where it can be plotted against a building, existing or a proposed building that you input into the app. The tool can add more meters or reduce the ruler. You can compare this 3D ruler against the building. You can subdivide it by meters and use transparent materials as well. This comes in useful when you want to extend on top of the roof, and you'll see exactly from 50 meters to 70 meters of where it would be. You can also grid extension for all the larger buildings, and you can also change the grid extension to make it smaller. Here we have the PTAL and St. Paul's height grid selection. The PTAL stands for Public Transport Accessibility Levels. I've slowed down this video for people to see that the projected 3D model onto the actual city. So here you can see the colour codes. The colour codes show the different ranges of how close by you are to a public transport link. And here you can see the colour codes. We also have a St. Paul's height grid for the protection of St. Paul's grid. So when developers want to build around this area, they actually have to coincide and for the legal requirement have to fit in within that height grid. Anything higher than a height grid, they would not be able to build. You can actually put transparent materials and toggle the visibility this way, which helps with your inputting your proposed building, and you can compare it to the St. Paul's high grid. Here we just zoom in and just show you a bit more detail. So any buildings that are new would not be able to go higher than that grid. We have protected views within the city. We have also put them into certain categories and under numbers, and you can see with also the description, for instance, one is orientation black. Once you press onto it, it will zoom straight and focus into that area. There's a different types of views. So this one's the linear view. And here you can show view from the camera. Here you can toggle through 3D model, exactly what it's like now. And you can compare it to a photo that you've taken on site. This one was actually from our director, Michael, and he took this in 2005. You can toggle this photo with your proposed building as well. But of course, with this being a protected view, you wouldn't be able to put anything in this area. So you can actually see that if you put your proposed building and it affects this protected view, then there'll be having to be a design change. Here's also the protected views, and they show markers like the ones that we just showed for the listing, and when we have them under numbers, these are all the series of arrows which show the protected views and what area, what viewpoint it's showing. You can also show the markers and remove the markers. Here we have the viewing corridors. Landmark viewing corridors is the area between the viewing place and a strategically important landmark. We also have within the city categorised viewing corridors. Some are London panoramas, linear views, river prospects, and townscape views. Here you can see the different type of views. A useful tool that we've been able to use is the screenshot tool. This is when you actually put in your proposed building and you wanted to take a few 360-degree screenshots around this building. You can save your new camera location and you can use the drone overview mode and go around this building. You can toggle camera views that you've saved. Here you can see the 1, 2, 3 in the yellow icon. Here it's also saved your current location, so you can also refocus back into that camera. And here you can also take a quick screenshot and it will save it into your designated folder on your computer. Here you can scribble through over the images and share screenshots. This tool illustrates the underground lines in the app coinciding with the 3D model data. This helps explain to clients where the closest underground tube lines are, or for example, the underground stations that lie in a certain borough boundary. You can show all of the tube lines. Also, you can click on specific lines and you can remove all of them. We also have a tool for walking distance. This projects circles onto the model, and within those circles, it illustrates the walking distance in that circumference. You can move the circles around the city as well. The view shed tool. This is for instance, you could do this to an existing building as well as proposed, but here we demonstrate the proposed in this purple colour. Here you can point on the roof, put markers along the roof axes. And you can choose the range of the simulation of where you would want the points to be projected out onto the 3D model. And here we go, run simulation. As you can see, the slight paints of colour coming up on the 3D model. For instance, the yellow. And still run the simulation just to check the area. And here we go. So here it would paint the, put that back. Here you would paint the floor space of yellow, and that is where you'll be able to see, if you put, for instance, in a walking mode, you'll be able to see the building, and where it's not painted yellow, you would not be able to see the building, so it would no longer be visible in that area where you're standing. We choose a builder tool in which we can have a 3D massing within a certain area of London. Here we've chosen an open space, and we build the walls within that area. So you can build your actual massing model of your design, and then you can type in the height in meters. You could also build the roof from joining from 0 to 1 and all the points together. And you will get a flat roof here. And here we go, and that's where it's completed. After the builder tool, you can also import or export certain 3D models that you've made within the app. And here we go, we can export that from Plan.City into 3ds Max and import it into 3ds Max of that simple massing model. And here you could manipulate it, change it, and then import it back into Plan.City. Here we have the hide and import tool. So we can have a presentation tool, and we can go into presentation mode where we've saved certain current slides to show the area that we want to show. Here we can toggle through the current slides. It's quite like a PowerPoint point. This is showing the King's Cross area in London. And we can also, by right-clicking onto a certain building, we can hide that model. So that will be hiding an existing model. And we could also import a model that we've made in 3ds Max or any other 3D modeling software. So here we have, it's in the selected King's Cross file. I've slowed down this video so people can see the detail. And here we go. Here's a model that was made, and we've exported it into Plan.City. And then we go back to presentation mode and showing the My New development. And then we again can present and showing the proposed building that we've built. And that's an overview of the city. And then you can toggle through the current slides. So slide 2 again will show. And the interesting good thing about this as well is within a time and weather, the shadows change as well. This helps with daylight and sunlight consultants, they can see how much lux is projected onto an area outside of the building. Here we can see a case study that's been used by one of our clients. Plan.City was used to present what they wanted to show. Here it shows the future skylines, so the buildings that are already completed or they're about to be completed in the following years. The crossrail highlighting different areas of the station with access to another station. This also shows the office that they're looking at and how far it is distant to the stations and a neighbouring development here. It did this by proposed buildings exported into the Plan.City, and they were able to build more and more on top of it. So now you can see against the skyline and different views panning around the proposed building. For case study 2, this is actually showing a digital twin of Plan.City of Dublin, so a different urban context. The client that used the Plan.City was using it for able to use the view shed, as well as bespoke tools for building a massing model within the city. Here they panned and overviewed mode onto the city. Last but not least, we have case study 3. That was used for the VR experience of London through the ages. This was used within an exhibition experience. We also created renders and animations showcasing a recreated Palmyra arc. The arc was imported in and we panned around the arc to showcase the archaeological features within London. If you have any questions, then please email me via rachel@accicities.com. Thank you for your time and listening.